What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here. The Premier League kicks off tonight with Manchester against Leicester, and tomorrow we kick off our Premier League campaign up at Newcastle. We're getting ready for the long 5-6 hour drive, aren't we, Sim? Are you excited for the drive?
Very. 6 hours.
This guy's got to drive it.
Yeah, someone has to. It's going to be a fun trip. Us two and Expressions for 6 hours.
Yeah.
See how that goes. But anyway.
So I want to talk about first of all, I want to talk about the video we made yesterday, and how I think we slightly blew things a bit out of proportion, talking about how things are all doom and gloom, and I want to talk about how things are not doom and gloom and how great our squad actually is.
Yeah, well, I want this video to be just a bit of a squad overview, just to look at where we think things are lacking, where we think things are strong. Obviously, it's the same squad as last year, so we should probably know already. But if things are doing, players have developed, players have changed. People are more injury prone. People might be like new signings. So we'll just go through the squad. Yesterday's video was a very negative video. It was a negative reaction to what the transfer window was. But I still feel negatively about it. I'm not gonna lie. I still feel like the transfer window wasn't good enough. But we have the squad that we have.
But there are positives in there.
We have a good
including
squad.
breaking the wage structure, which we never spoke about yesterday.
We didn't. Yeah, it's true. We didn't speak about that. You're right. There are positives. There are obviously positives to our squad. We love our squad. So let's just talk about it. Let's get into it.
Let's start with the goalkeepers. So we've got captain of France, World Cup winner coming back with all the confidence in the world. That can only be a good thing. People said he had a kind of bad season last year with a few mistakes.
He did make probably a few more mistakes than you would like, but I still back Hugo 100%. I think he had a pretty good World Cup despite that howler in the final. And I think no complaints. I didn't think that was an area we needed strengthening at all. And obviously Vorm and Gazaniga's back up. It's more than good enough.
Yeah, I think Vorm. Well, I'm happy for Vorm to step in the cup games and stuff like that.
Except for the semi-final.
Yeah, exactly. Except for the semi-final,
which I didn't mind particularly. But anyway. Fullback areas.
I think we're pretty good on fullback areas. You've got on the right hand side we've got Trippier, Aurier and Kyle Walker-Peters. I think Aurier can really improve this season, to be honest.
I think Trippier, especially after his World Cup games, he's going to be number one for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely on Aurier to win it back. But I see Aurier is probably going to start this weekend, I'm assuming.
Yeah, you would like to think so.
So maybe even the first few games he might start. So.
But I think a lot of people have been calling Aurier a bit of a liability, but I'm actually backing Aurier to step it up this season and hopefully be the right back that we sign.
And we're hearing good things from him as well. He knows that he needs to improve a bit. Yeah. He knows that in his first season exactly go to plan. So as long as he's aware, maybe he can improve this season. I'm all for Aurier sticking around. In terms of the fullback areas, I think ideally maybe we could there are definitely better fullbacks out there than what we have. But it's not an area I think that's urgent need of improving. I think we're pretty solid. We've got solid depth, and we got good enough what we need, I think.
Yeah. So on left back we got Rose Davis, and also Kyle Walker-Peters can cover there if need be.
Yeah, I think that's good enough. If Rose can get back to his old form, that'll be ideal. But I think Davis has been pretty good.
Davis will be the one starting the game. It'll be up for Rose to win it back off Davis, kind of thing, unless Rose leaves. Which we don't know. It's not beyond all realms of possibility.
Which is a shame if he does, because I'd like to see him back to his best. But whether that happens.
But I think if we were to play a three at the back, that really puts Davis and Trippier a bit further up the pitch, and I think that's much better for them. I think
it's less pressure on them to track back as much. Obviously,
you saw in the World Cup when Kyle Walker was covering and Trippier, what a
difference it made.
Exactly.
Because when they have that pressure to track back, they can't always get back in position in time. And then three at the back, I think going on to centre backs now, we've got Jan, Toby Sanchez, Foyth, and Carter Vickers as our 5 centre backs. I think going forward, it probably with hopefully Toby back, and hopefully he's going to be on it. Wanting to fight for the shirt again, even if he's only here for a year. I think our best option,
half a year,
or whatever. I'm hoping it doesn't go before the deadline anyway. I think three at the back is the way to go. I think that's.
I think it all depends on who you're playing. To be honest,
yeah, you're right. Obviously, if you're playing a smaller team, maybe three at the back's not the way. But say if we play Juventus in the Champions League game, I'm talking about the big games.
Yeah.
I think the most important games. I think three at the back, having Jan, Toby, and Sanchez as that three would be fantastic. They haven't really played together that much before Toby got injured, and I think they were looking pretty good. You say Jan, Toby, and Sanchez. That's one of the best in the league.
Yeah.
In terms of
partnerships. If not the.
No one, you can't tell me three centre backs together better than that. Depth is lacking. That's one thing.
You think so?
Carter Vickers and Foyth is backup coming in.
I mean, I like the look of Foyth from last season.
So do I, but first of all, he's injured.
Yeah.
I know that at the moment. Apparently, it's quite a bad injury. He might be out for a bit of time. They said he's continuing his rehabilitation. I like him, but if he's going to have to come in for a massive game, is he going to be up to it? We'll see.
The thing is, if we're planning to play two at the back, is the depth enough then?
If we're planning to play two at the back, then maybe, but three at the back, no. Carter Vickers, I've never been impressed with him.
And also Dyer can drop back in three at the back.
That's true. Dyer can drop back if need be. I've never been impressed with Carter Vickers or in a Spurs shirt. I've heard rave reviews out on loan. Fair enough to him if he's doing well, doing bits in the Championship.
Yeah, and he also had rave reviews from the reserves in the.
But I've just got to say what I see whenever I've seen him Spurs. I remember when we played Wickham in the FA Cup a couple of years ago. He was awful. Mm-hmm. He was terrible. He's got running rings around him. So maybe he looked okay in pre-season. Maybe Poch can put more trust in him. I wouldn't mind him getting the odd cup game here and there. We'll see how that goes. But I wouldn't want to rely on Carter Vickers.
To be honest, I think he's going to get a loan move anyway.
But then we're really lacking depth.
Well, like we said, Dyer. If we're playing a back three, Dyer can drop back, so it's not too bad.
We'll see. I don't know. I think we could have done with maybe another centre back, but I think it's not desperate.
The thing is, though, if you could do with another centre back, what kind of centre back do you bring in? Because obviously, this guy who comes in is going to get hardly any game time.
Well, depending on our injuries.
Yeah. But if it all goes to plan, he's hardly going to get any game time.
Yeah.
What defender in their right mind that wants to play football comes into a club that has Jan, Toby and Sanchez?
Same problem we have with backup striker.
Yeah, you can see the struggles there.
Yeah. So maybe we are better off just relying on the youth. Fair enough, fair point.
So we move on to midfield. I think, like we said before, it was a key area I thought we needed to strengthen with Dembele. We thought Dembele was going to be off, but Dembele stayed. So we've got Dembele, Eric Dyer, Moussa Sissoko, Victor Wanyama, Winks, and potentially Dele Alli as well, who can all play in that.
And Eriksen potentially.
And Eriksen, who can all play in that centre midfield position.
So, in terms of options, we have a fair bit of flexibility. If we play three at the back, we can maybe play the formation played against Liverpool with one holding midfielder and kind of two, pretty similar to how England played at the World Cup.
Yeah,
two attacking midfielders, one holding midfielder, and two up front. If that was the case, then maybe someone like Eriksen and Dele Alli could drop in. Ali showed at the World Cup he can play in that position. Eriksen, I think, has shown a couple of times he can play in a three midfield. So we've got a few options there. What I just really worry about is Wanyama's injury. That's recurring. Dembele's injury and form, which remain
to be honest, I think Dembele, when he played in the World Cup, he had a poor World Cup, but I think he still impressed for us last season.
He did.
He won us some massive games last season.
At times.
Yeah, at times.
Yeah. It wasn't.
I still think we can rely on Dembele.
We can rely on Dembele. Listen, I like Dembele, but long term, for example, will he play 30 games in a season? Probably not. And then of those, like, say he plays like 25 games.
He's never played 30 games in a season.
Right, exactly, that's my point. And if he plays like 20, say we get 25 games out of him, he'll probably be great in like 15 of them. He'll probably have like 10 off games. And then you just want someone who's more consistent. You want someone who's there every single game. You know who's going to be a consistent performer in central midfield on the ball. And as much as I love Dembele, as much as I admire his qualities, I just feel like it might be time to upgrade on him.
I mean, it's definitely going to be time because he's only got 1 year left in his contract
now. True. So maybe just one more year.
Let's just talk about this season. Forget about the long term for now. This season, I think we can put our trust in Dembele. I don't think that's a problem. Wanyama is a question mark because of this recurring injury, which is a big worry for us.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, Wanyama, when he's fit, he's one of the best defensive midfielders in the league.
Yeah,
it's just a shame this injury is correct up again. I don't know when he's going to be back. Hopefully soon. But if we can get him fit, he's class. But again, can we rely on him? It's up in the air.
Harry Winks as well, which is another question.
Another injury, probably. Apparently, people are. I commented saying he was injured. People are saying he's back already. But apparently, I don't think he's in the squad this weekend. So we'll see.
We don't know the full story with Winks. He didn't play pre-season, did he?
No. Winks, obviously, last season he really came into it before he got injured. I thought he was fantastic. Obviously, that big performance against Real Madrid. He's got a lot of potential. Again, can we rely on him?
When fit, I think yes. I think when he was fit around that time of the Bernabeu game, he was putting in very, very strong performances week in, week out. We went on the Arsenal channel where we had those interview with Claude and stuff, and we were piping his trumpet big time, saying how much better he is than Wilshere. He would walk into the Arsenal team. Since then, he's only been out through injury. It hasn't been through form, so I still put all my trust in Winks.
He did come back. And
he came back, but he wasn't fully fit. You could see that.
I can say he looked rusty.
Yeah, he wasn't fit. But I'm saying when Winks is fully fit, we can put our trust in him for sure.
So what would you say? Winks and Dembele should be all right for this season? Is that what?
If Winks is fit, then yes. And then we've also got Sissoko as well, who can play in there. And also, when Sissoko's played centre mid, I think he's been good. I think he's been rubbish when he's been played out the wing in the attacking
I think you can't
formations.
play Sissoko in a two-man midfield. You have to play him in a three because
think
he's not good enough on the ball to be a passer. You can't dictate a game. He can't control the midfield like someone like Dembele or Winks can. So I wouldn't. The thing is with Sissoko, you can't put him next to the defensive midfielder because then you have no ball player. But you can't put him next to a ball player because he's not defensive enough either. So that's why you have to play him in a three.
I agree with that. And also Dele Alli. You saw when he dropped back in midfield in that Liverpool game. He
that's the question. See, if we can develop Ali into more of a number 8, then I think he could become the player that was missing for us potentially, or even Eriksen if we can drop him back a bit. One of the two. That I think is the key to this season. I think if we can drop one of those two back, develop more into a central midfielder, maybe that could negate the need to sign one.
But having said that, if you do drop Ali back and make him our number 8, then we're lacking a player behind the striker. Because you've got Eriksen, you've got Lucas, you've got Lamela, you've got Son, but there's no one to really challenge Eriksen for that number 10 spot.
Yeah. But I think that's the beauty of having Ali and Eriksen is in. If one of them plays up, they can probably be quite versatile. They can probably chop and change. They can, if Eriksen drops back, Ali can go forward and vice versa. So I think obviously having both of them in the team, that can kind of be the option for us. I think that's what we need to do. I think now we haven't signed a central midfielder, which I really think we should have signed. I think one of Ali Eriksen kind of has to, or even both, have to kind of be more developed, maybe play a deeper role. That's what I'm feeling.
And how are you feeling about the wingers?
Wingers, I think we should have signed another one as well. I think obviously we've got Lucas, Nkudu, Son and Lamela.
Yeah.
There's 4 wingers there. I think Lucas, Son and Lamela are pretty adequate. I think Nkudu had a decent pre-season, but
as he did last year.
Exactly, we've seen that before, so I wouldn't want to rely on him. I'd rather just get money in and go for someone else. Obviously, the ideal would have been someone like Zaha, Martial, someone really push the first team, really push them to their limits and probably come in and even overtake them, but obviously that wasn't viable, wasn't going to happen. So I think for what we have, it's okay, but again, a couple of injuries, one injury, and the depth isn't there really. So that's why I would look to bring in another one.
But also, our squad was at maximum capacity, so we needed to sell anyway before we could bring someone in. So that's also another issue that we had in the transfer window.
Yeah, but the problem is we're so concentrated on getting profits in that the reason why we didn't buy before we sold is to maintain the value of our players who we're trying to sell. Because if everyone knows if we're buying a player, then they know that they can just get the players on the cheap because we're desperate to sell.
Not necessarily, because it was very public that we had 3 first team players up for sale. So
yes, but if we buy before we sell them, their value decreases.
Right.
That's my point, and that's why it's frustrating, because if we cared more about improving our team and progressing, then maybe we would have just forgotten about the value of the players we're selling and concentrate more on the team. But I understand it because the stadium's very expensive, but it's just very frustrating, and it boiled over yesterday.
At the end of the day, the stadium went from being like a 400 million job to a nearly $1 billion job.
Yeah.
So you do have to feel for the owners a bit. As much as we do want the investment, it is hard. But having said that, the owners have never really put investment in, and the owners have always kind of broken even in the transfer window.
They always try to.
And we've always sell to buy. Always.
Always, even before the stadium, everything.
Yeah.
And they told us the transfer, they won't affect the transfer budget, I guess. If you
but the stadium didn't affect the transfer budget.
I guess. I know we used to sign sometimes, where we sold like Darren Bent and people like that.
So every time we've spent that money, like in that period, every time we spent big, it went wrong for us. Every single time.
It's also true.
You know, you had that Darren Bent, you had David Bentley, you had all these kind of players that we bought for big money back then. 16 million back then was a big money, and they all flopped.
Yeah, but the fact is, we have a settled squad now, and I think we're literally on the precipice of getting really seriously challenging for serious honours, and I just think a couple of additions would have really helped this squad. Obviously, going on, just finishing up, we've got Ken Llorente up front.
Yeah.
Obviously, no difference there. Janssen's going to be off, we all know that. I think we could have, everyone knows, I think we probably could have done with a backup striker. Kane's obviously good enough by himself. But having Llorente, obviously, listen, we're going
to... Son can play there as well.
Son can play there. We're going to give Llorente another season. I personally don't think Llorente is a bad player. I don't think he turned into a bad player overnight. I just don't think he suits the way we play. I just think it's hard for him to play that high pressing system. And we're not really a team that lumps balls in the box that he likes.
The problem I have sometimes, when Llorente starts, we always try to play ball into feet to him. And that just doesn't work. And we struggle to score goals. Then he goes off with about 15, 20 minutes to go, and then we start lumping balls into it. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I agree. We've done that. That's really frustrating. I think we play to Llorente's strengths. We have a fine striker there. I know he had an awful season last season. I think we have a fine striker there. But I'd rather we signed a backup striker who would suit us. Like, I don't understand why we didn't go for someone like Vieta. Obviously, we have to sell before we buy and all that. But Vieta has gone to Fulham, but he used to be a very good player.
Why not bring JD Trouble back to sit on the bench?
35. That'll be a romantic story. Jermaine Defoe back at Spurs.
Jermaine Defoe wins the league with Spurs.
So even a backup striker, I'm not yelling about. I'm not even going mad about that because whatever. I don't think Llorente's terrible, even though I would have preferred that. But what I'm just a bit pissed about is central midfield. I really think we should have signed that and maybe another winger because I just think depth isn't there.
But either way, our squad is very strong.
It's looking good,
and
but the thing is, it's always looking depending on what you want to achieve. If you're saying top 4 is what you want to achieve, the squad's great. The squad's fine. If you're saying we need to push on and maybe really challenge for the title, get close to City, I don't think it's up to it. But that's just my opinion.
What would you say is a good season? Would you say top 4 and a trophy is a good season?
Yes.
So this squad is definitely capable of that.
Yes, I agree with that.
So
I think it's a good season. Top 4 and a trophy is a good season, considering that it was first season at the new stadium. It's just the frustrating thing is we can get close to City. We have that. We are there. We have that ability, but it's like we're settling.
There's a long way to go in this process, and I think once we're kind of bedded into the stadium, I think we can afford to spend more money then.
But I'm just worried that people like Eriksen, how long is he going to stick around for?
Forget about that now. We've kept them this season. We've got to play with them this season. There are players there. Eriksen is probably one of the best number 10s in the world at the moment. We've got him for this season. He has shown no signs of wanting to leave. So why bring that up? We've got him now. So let's enjoy him this season.
Because it just signals that this team, they're not going to get the ambition they want out of our board. That's what I'm worried about.
I think the ambition is there, and I think...
Because the reason I say that is just because of Rose's comments last window, right?
Yeah.
He was saying how he's personally frustrated with the signings we make. He doesn't want signings we have to Google. He wants the ambition from the club.
Yeah.
Now, that's coming from one of the players in our squad, and I doubt that he's the only player in that squad that feels like that. He's just the only one that said it. He said, I'm the one I just feel...
why haven't they kick up a fuss to leave then?
Because I think they're happy at Spurs at the moment. They just want to see that ambition to... Listen, they haven't announced Eriksen's new contract. I'm not saying that he's unhappy. I'm just worried that they would want to see ambition from the board, that we're actually going to challenge him for titles. Because 3 years, we've been getting top 4 for 3 years. That's a long time in a player's career. It's not a short amount of time. And they want to see at some point that we're actually going to progress to that next level. And top 4 is great. I told you, as I said, 3 consecutive top 3 finishes is fantastic. But... a player's career is very short, and they want to be challenging for honours. So I'm just worried that they might not see the ambition of maybe getting a league title or a Champions League trophy at this club, and maybe want to move on from like Madrid or Barcelona. Obviously, that worry's always going to be there. I'm just worried that it might be sooner rather than later.
Look, it's not just us that have that problem.
Yeah.
Even teams that win titles will still be getting their players now from Real Madrid and Barcelona.
Yeah.
So that's not just a problem that we have, that's a kind of problem in general. And that's what happens, players move on. Like you've said in the past, Ronaldo moved on from a title and Champions League winning side to Real Madrid. So I think if this team do stick together, I think we can go on to big things.
I hope you're right.
Well, so that was our roundup of the squad roundup. We're in Newcastle tomorrow, first game of the season. I was feeling down yesterday, but I'm absolutely buzzing today. I'm excited for this season.
I can't wait for the new season start. I mean, obviously the transfer is frustrating, but listen, Spurs are back. I love watching Spurs. I love watching how we play. I'm confident we can have a decent season despite no transfers coming in. And I'm looking forward to tomorrow, Newcastle away. We'll see how we fit in. If we can get off 3 points, it'll be a great start.
Yeah, and people kind of commenting were kind of saying that we were very, very negative and too negative. I just want to say it is definitely not doom and gloom at the moment, because I think our squad is absolutely amazing. We did need those 1 or 2 additions to kind of push us.
I think our emotions just boiled over yesterday. It was a very frustrating day. You're waiting for a signing after being promised signings. Obviously, after not getting one, it's going to be frustrating. I'm still a bit frustrated, but new season starting now. We got what we got. This squad is a very capable squad. So
it's our best squad we've had in our life.
Exactly. I'm not. It's not like we're going to be going protesting at games or anything. That's all. It's nothing to do with it. I'm 100% supporting Spurs. I'm looking forward to the game.
Exactly. So we'll be in Newcastle tomorrow. Check out for our videos up there. And as always, come on Spurs.